Doha, both Raducanu and Anisimova retired due to illness. Raducanu reached the final of the Transylvania Open in Romania on Saturday, but had little left in the tank after a marathon semifinal the day before, and she succumbed to a rampant Saranasustia in just 63 minutes, later confessing to being fatigued and fighting illness all week. She described the match as very difficult, emotionally and physically, but still made the trip from Cluj-Napoca to Doha, and was on court on Monday night. Despite the concerns, Raducanu looked in good shape and far from fatigued against Camila Osorio from Colombia at the start of the contest. Raducanu, the world number 25, who split from her coach Francisco Roig after her second-round exit at the Australian Open, made a positive start, building on an early break to go on and close out the first set, 6-2, in 38 minutes against the world number 80. The Brit had beaten Osorio at the Hobart International last month, and was dominant throughout parts of the opener, losing her serve just once, while breaking her opponent 3 times. Osorio won a WTA Challenger event in Manila last month, and regrouped for the second, just as Raducanu struggled to keep her range from the baseline. The Colombia's building pressure on the Brit soon told as she broke, and then held to move 4-2 ahead, before maintaining her momentum to pocket the set, 6-4, and level the match. Raducanu was broken again at the start of the decider, not opting to chase down a drop shot to the net, before calling for a medical timeout. After a lengthy consultation with the trainer and a doctor, who checked her blood pressure, the 23-year-old went back on court, but then swiftly lost the second game to love, and walked back to the net to shake Osorio's hand and retire, throwing in the towel with the score standing at 2-6, 6-4, 2-0 ret in favor of the Colombian. Raducanu is still provisionally up 1 place to number 24 in the live rankings, although plenty of players could still overtake her with strong campaigns over the next 5 days. The same fate befell American Amanda Anisimova, the defending champion who pulled out against former Doha semifinalist Karolina Pliskova at 5-7, 7-6, 3, 4-1 ret to the Czech. Anisimova kickstarted a landmark 2025 season with her run to a first WTA 1000 title here last year, defeating Latvia's Jelena Ostapenko in the final, which propelled the American inside the top 20, and she arrived in Doha as the world number 4 and 3rd seed. Despite claiming a tight opening set, Anisimova was unable to fend off Pliskova, who is returning to tour after a lengthy injury absence. Definitely, I think this is not how we want to win, although I felt like we played good tennis throughout those first 2 sets, said Pliskova, speaking on court. It went long, so you start to feel it a little bit in the body. I also feel it a bit. Luckily, I'm through to the next round. Anisimova led by a set and a break midway, but began to struggle physically as the second set wore on. When Pliskova came through the tiebreaker to bag the set and level the match, the American's condition visibly worsened, and she had her blood pressure checked at 2-1 down in the decider. From then on, Anisimova was unable to chase balls down, and 2 short games later, she shook hands with Pliskova at the net to end the match, and her defense of the Qatar Open title, due to illness. The early loss is disappointing for the 24-year-old, and sees her leave the top 5 in the rankings, having enjoyed the best season of her career, which saw her reach 2 Grand Slam finals before winning another WTA 1000 title at the China Open in Beijing. Anisimova had a staggering 1,000 points to defend in Doha this year, but with only 10 ranking points on offer for players who exit the WTA 1000 event in their opening match, the American will now drop 990 of them, giving her a total of 5,690 points when the rankings are updated next week, which ensures that Coco Gauff will regain her U.S. number 1 ranking. Current world number 5, Jessica Pegula, who withdrew last week from Doha, will also be ranked ahead of Anisimova next week despite not playing. Meanwhile, Pliskova, who has a career-high ranking of world number 1 and has won 17 WTA Tour titles, is returning from a severe left foot injury she sustained at the U.S. Open in 2024 that required 2 surgeries on her ankle, and has played just 6 tour-level matches, all in 2026. The 33-year-old Czech awaits the winner of the match between fellow Czechs, Karolina Muchova, the 14th seed, and qualifier Teresa Valentova, who play each other on Tuesday. Valentova ended the hopes of Alexila from the Philippines, 7-5, 6-1, on Monday, the second time she has beaten her in 6 months, improving to 2-0 overall. In their head-to-head record, The sun sets on Uelioli in Doha, 2 stars dimmed by illness. In the shimmering arena of the Qatar Total Energies Open, the desert sun trickling its last rays over the gleaming courts, an unexpected shadow fell. This year's WTA 1000 event in Doha will long be remembered not just for soaring rallies and dazzling power tennis, but for the unsettling coincidence of 2 established stars forced out of competition by illness. In a rare occurrence, Emma Raducanu and Amanda Anisimova both retired mid-match on the same day, leaving fans, commentators, and players startled and contemplative. This is more than mere coincidence. It's a moment that tells a deeper story about the physical and emotional demands of elite tennis, the fragility beneath the ferocity. Raducanu's fight and the fragility beneath. At just 23 years of age, Emma Raducanu has lived a tennis life that most players can only dream of. Her meteoric rise, sparked by a fairytale U.S. Open victory in 2021, captured hearts around the world. But since that pinnacle, her journey has been as tumultuous as it has been inspiring. Weeks before arriving in Doha, Raducanu had competed in the Transylvania Open final in Romania, pushing herself to the brink. Despite losing that match, she showed tenacity and promise. Still, that exertion, and the illness that shadowed it, would figure heavily in her next outing. In her opening match against Colombia's Camila Osorio, Raducanu began with promise. She won the first set 6-2, displaying flashes of the aggression and baseline precision that have long defined her game. But as the second set unfolded, fatigue, both physical and physiological, began to tell. Osorio rallied, taking the second set 6-4 and forcing a decisive third. What happened next was a chilling reminder of the sport's brutal honesty. Raducanu's body simply couldn't keep pace. At 0-2 down in the third, she called for a medical timeout. On-court medical staff checked her blood pressure, a sign of distress beyond mere muscle strain, and when she returned, the strain was still evident. Moments later, Raducanu walked to the net and retired from the match. For a player whose career has been punctuated by both brilliance and setbacks, this wasn't just another retirement. It was emblematic of an athlete caught between ambition and limitation. While injury retirements are not uncommon in professional tennis, illness forcing withdrawals during key tournaments is less typical and more disconcerting. It raises questions about scheduling, recovery, and the toll of a demanding tour schedule that sometimes seems to give players little respite between events. Raducanu's fiercely competitive spirit didn't abandon her. Her body simply had its limits.